Hi, I'm Adrian at Kingston, and this is Jamaica Magazine, the show with the information you need to improve your life. Between the pages, the matter of foreign affairs and its link to improving international trade relations. Plus, breakfast ideas for those young ones at home. Stay with us for those and much more right after this.
It takes so long, man. People have places to go, you know. Get them on the urban table number.
Happy and nice. You know how much people me have to deal with before me reach here, sir? You're lucky.
But 3 bills for number 5.
Wait. We can place my bet with you? Yeah, man. You see, when you win with we, you get a little extra. So what you say?
Police, nobody move.
Illegal gambling is a criminal offense. If convicted, you could face a fine of up to $1 million or up to 18 months in prison. When gambling, choose licensed and registered gaming establishments. Stop illegal gambling now. Call Crime Stop at 311 to report illegal gambling. You don't have to give your name. A message from the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission.
The Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Ministry has been implementing several measures to improve Jamaica's relations with its diplomatic partners. Portfolio Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith discusses that and other issues with Ian Boyne next.
Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we talk about foreign affairs and the critical Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. The minister is here with us, Senator Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, and she'll be talking to us about some of the achievements of the ministry over the last year and the projections and prospects for 2017. We thank you so much for your company. Minister, good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
You had a press conference last week where you talked about a number of things that the ministry had done. Chief among which was the relationship with Trinidad and the smoothing out of some of the issues that had arisen last year. Perhaps we could start there.
Sure. The work certainly continues on systemic issues with Trinidad, but we do feel quite proud of the work that has been done thus far. We know that the relationship with Trinidad hit a low in March last year when we hit a high in terms of the number of Jamaicans that were returned from Trinidad. We hit a high as at 74, which is that most Jamaicans returned in any month since 2013, which is the last time we had our last sort of wrinkle in the inter-country relationship. We've managed to get a 64% reduction with 27 persons returned in December. Furthermore, Trinidad kept their commitment to retrofit an area within Piarco Airport to ensure that persons who are not being landed will be accommodated in more dignified and comfortable surroundings, and that they will have access to Wi-Fi so that they can communicate, whether it is with family or friends, or even legal support while it is that they wait for return to their country of origin. So of course that includes Jamaicans as well, and we know that Jamaicans have used it since its inception. They've also kept their commitment to train their immigration officers, which is very important because you recall that part of the issue was not only the returns, but treatment.
Jamaicans were dead.
Right. So we have had less reports of ill treatment, A, and B, we've had actual positive reports of an improved travel experience at the Piarco Airport. So we know that they're also working on processes to ensure that processing time is reduced before they hand over persons to the airline, because that helps with the overall experience as well. And that work continues for them. But certainly what has been done so far seems to have resulted in a change, not only in our numbers of returnees, but the experience overall.
Yes. Are there other issues that you're working on with Trinidad Minister
Certainly.
to ensure an even better travel experience for Jamaicans?
Absolutely. On our side of the Caribbean Sea, we're actually helping to educate people in Jamaica, to educate Jamaicans about traveling to other CARICOM countries. Right. And at the press conference, we formally launched our first in a series of 3 brochures. This brochure is travel tips for Jamaicans traveling within CARICOM countries in the CSME. Yes. So it doesn't cover Bahamas, Bahamas or Haiti, I think, who are, well, it sets out, you know, what you need to do before you get there. So in preparing for your trip, you need to not just take a ticket that somebody sent you and travel. You need to make sure you know the name, number, and address of where you're staying, even if it's a hotel or if it's in somebody's house. You need to have enough funds or access to funds to demonstrate that you'll be able to take care of yourself while you're there, or prove that someone else is taking care of you. You don't need a visa. And you need to also understand that if you breached the immigration laws the last time you were there, even if you didn't have a problem with the police or immigration or anybody, so you were there and you left okay, they may actually have a record of it and you may not be allowed re-entry. So you need to know that your ducks are in order. And educating people about this so that they can also take responsibility for how and when they travel is part of what we want to do as well, to reduce opportunities for embarrassment and for waste of money as well. Imagine the distress of someone who has invested in a ticket to travel for whatever business, pleasure, or other opportunity, and they're returned because they didn't they didn't take all the steps that they should have taken before they left. You know, you need to understand that you're entitled to 6 months. If you want to stay for more than 6 months, you then need to apply for an extension, or you need to leave and come back. And so if you have stayed for 2 years, when you've only entered on a visitor's visa, they will have a record of that. That's a breach of their immigration laws, and it may be problematic for you to return. So these are things that we're trying to explain to people. Our next brochure will be about work. So the categories within the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas that allow you to work. The fact that you need to go to Ministry of Labor and Social Security to get your skills certificate and how you do that. Because we've actually put that little note on this first brochure to say that you're not entitled to work when you travel as a visitor. You need a skills certificate.
Jamaicans need to understand that.
So that's on this first brochure.
When you go there, it's not for work.
It's not for work if you haven't gone through the steps to work there, which is either to...
There are some categories of professions and vocations that are allowed under the skills program.
Yeah. So if you're a UA graduate, for example,
yes,
you can get a skills certificate as a UA graduate to work in another Caribbean country. Yeah.
In any field.
Yeah. Similarly, in artisans, we're working on domestic workers because that's one of the categories that went in 2005, but we've not managed to operationalize it, and that's something that frustrates me greatly. That since 2005, we're in 2016, and we've not managed to operationalize that yet. So that's something that I actually have the staff working on. Because to me, it's, you know, they say, well, Minister, there's an issue about standardization. Yes, but it shouldn't take 11 years. So that's something that's being worked on both sides, and we hope to make some results in that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're talking to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator the Honorable Camino Johnson Smith, and she's talking about issues that you would naturally have interest in. Travel to our neighboring Caribbean countries. There are also some other issues that the ministry has responsibility for that I'm sure you'll be interested in. We'll pick up those issues with the minister when we come back from a very short break.
A healthy and educated people living in a clean, natural environment, reducing crime, improving the justice system and governance, building a prosperous economy. It's not just a vision, it's reality. Learn about the plan. Join the vision.
My country, Jamaica, has a rich heritage and is very unique. If we all pull together, we can make it the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and to do business.
For more information on Vision 2030, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or visit vision2030.gov.jm, your parish library, school library, or the Jamaica Information Service.
Thanks for rejoining us. This is Issues and Answers. We're talking to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith. Minister, give us an idea of the importance of the work of the ministry. How does the work of the ministry relate to our everyday lives? How do you impact other ministries?
That's going to take us several interviews.
Well, just briefly.
But at the very heart of it, is the use of our international relations, so at the bilateral, regional, and multilateral levels, to foster national development. So for us, the priority now is to use those very relationships to ensure that we support the economic growth agenda in order to improve the lives of Jamaicans.
How would you do that?
Yes. There's so much.
Yes.
But one of the
avenues.
One of the avenues and one of the achievements of which we're most proud over the last 10 months is certainly our selection as a Pathfinder country in the Global Partnership to End Violence Against Children. That is a program situated within the UN, which provides us with opportunities for funding that we might not otherwise have access to as a middle-income country, and allows us to implement best practices with an aim of eradicating violence against children. Countries like Mexico are in there, Sweden. We're the only Caribbean country selected as a Pathfinder. So it's an extremely important opportunity for us, and we'll be coordinating with the Ministries of Education, Youth and Information, National Security, Health, Gender, Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports, and Labor, Social Security as core ministries, and then also bringing in others where necessary to ensure that we identify the gaps within the programs that support children and that reduce violence, and that we work together with civil society to ensure that we protect our children. Similarly, we entered into a new framework agreement, cooperation agreement with the Kingdom of Morocco, and that is going to allow us to apply for up to, well, it entitles us for up to 100 scholarships annually. 35 of them will be professional, and the others will range between degree, pre and postgrad degrees, and some short courses as well. And the good thing about this is that they're giving us the opportunity to align with national development goals to select where we want the scholarships to lie. So we're working on that with the Ministry of Education now. Agricultural technology as well. They have great expertise in terms of soil and soil technology, and you know we have issues here with our soil, and that affects productivity. And if agriculture is going to be part of the growth strategy, we need to get the soil right. It's the heart of it, right? So that is another achievement which we feel will impact people directly and impact the growth agenda directly. Similarly, we've created a new binational commission with Panama. I signed that agreement on a visit with the Prime Minister to Panama to to mark the opening of the expanded Panama Canal. And that is going to create opportunities for us to cooperate in respect of trade, youth development exchange, and logistics as our starting aim. And we expect to start the work of that commission within the first 6 months of this year. Similarly, I went to Mexico, where we also entered into a taxation agreement, sharing of information and other technical matters, but also signed off on the plan of cooperation for the year ahead, which is allowing for technical training for us in preservation of cultural heritage. They have huge expertise in that, and we think it's important for us to get a hold of that. We've lost too much history already. Jamaica has too many firsts and too many amazing achievements as being first in the Western Hemisphere, but we've not paid enough attention to preserving every aspect of our culture, so we're going to learn from them. And similarly, training of our craft vendors, because to improve their competitiveness, their product, and allow for more inclusive growth in tourism. That again is something that's going to have direct impact on people. I know there are other matters. I don't know how long you want me to go on. But
Minister, you're a liaison with the private sector. Do you work with our business sector to ensure that their trade and investment, joint venture deals go through as well as possible?
We're very supportive of the private sector, and one of my commitments, in fact, is to improve our relationship with the private sector. The ministry has a mechanism called JTAT, which is a Jamaica Trade and Advisory. It's a commission that allows for all of the stakeholders within the private sector, it's GMA, JEA, PSOJ, Trade Board, and other stakeholders to come together and go through current issues on the trade and on the trade horizon. But how the information is shared, I think could be optimized. The type of information that is shared also could be optimized. But we have, for example, after the state visit by Prime Minister Rowley to Jamaica, we had a meeting with the private sector to follow up with them on the issues which were still outstanding. So we're working with our counterparts in Trinidad, the private sector having proposed to us what they think could work as a mechanism for swift identification of trade issues when they occur, whether at the border or before they've left Kingston, and to have that mechanism replicated in Port of Spain for escalation and resolution, speedy resolution of trade issues. And part of what has happened as well is that visit created a new positive space for business. And there have been more positive interactions with the TTMA, the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association, and other organizations, which is allowing. We've gotten some reports of persons saying that they actually are getting better traction, better reception within Trinidad. Exactly. Yes, I mean, I expect it's a work in progress, and we don't expect perfection, but we are working on the systemic issues, like ensuring that even if all your issues aren't removed, that you have a mechanism to solve them. Yes. And meeting with the private sector to understand their experiences and where we can help is a big part of that. Good.
Minister, finally and briefly, consular services. One of the things that Jamaicans want to know when they're overseas is that they can get proper representation by their government. Just briefly on that, what you're doing.
One of the things which I accomplished last year was to get cabinet approval of the preparation of a national consular policy. And that is a priority for the year ahead, completion of that policy. It is going to improve and standardize the delivery of service across our missions and by our honorary consuls as well, where in the jurisdictions where they represent. And I think this is going to not only help staff in the delivery of service, but it's also going to help them by our community having a better understanding of expectations. It'll be online, it'll be available on the ministry website and on Facebook, and all ministries will expect, all the missions must have it available as well, so that you don't have to know somebody in order to get the right service. Everybody must understand what kind of service you should expect, what services we can provide, because remember, we are still overseas and we can't do everything, and we do work with resource constraints. But I think sharing information will take us a far way, and standardizing service will take us a far way to meeting the needs of our people overseas.
Thank you very much, Minister, for a very information-rich interview.
Thank you.
We thank you. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, with us on Issues and Answers. Next week I'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Violence against women and girls is a human problem, not just a woman's problem. It's a problem for men too. Gender violence takes many forms, including sexual assault, domestic violence, relationship abuse, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse of children. The magnitude of ongoing violence against women and children in our country is cause for alarm. We can end the violence. It requires all of us to end the violence. I call on all our men and women in Jamaica to take a stand. And men, especially, must get involved in this movement to create a better world for their daughters, their mothers, their sisters, their aunts, their uncles, their fathers, their sons, and for themselves. Let's protect and reassure. Let's unite to end gender violence.
It's now been a week since children headed back to school after the Christmas break. Parents, as you prepare them to face the rest of the school year, we have some quick and easy breakfast meal ideas you might want to try.
Breakfast is said to be the most important meal of the day. But how often have we been having breakfast? We've been skipping breakfast morning after morning. Do we really want to pass on this poor health practice to our children? I don't think so. So we've decided to get some help. The Grenville campus of the Hartress NTA's Northwest TVET Institute has offered to render some assistance by giving us some quick and easy meal ideas that's fit for the entire family. Our facilitator today is sous chef Randy Plummer. Thanks for having us, Randy.
Hi Sandra, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Welcome to Grenville campus. Today we'll be doing some healthy, nutritious meals just to give parents and caregivers a workable example of what they can do in no time.
So before we get into business, Randy, why is it so important for us to have a healthy breakfast?
Well, it's important to have a healthy breakfast because the body, throughout the night, the body loses all the nutrients that it would have gotten in the day. And what the breakfast does now, it introduces new nutrients to the body, giving the body energy so you can carry out given tasks throughout the day. Also, studies have shown where students who have, or children who have healthy breakfast, they tend to concentrate better in school or at their work.
Some of us parents can hardly find time to send our children to school on time, much less cook meals in the mornings. What do you recommend?
Well, there's a whole lot of easy breakfast ideas. Simple thing, just as a boiled egg with some tomatoes, introducing protein along with vitamin C. Another example, oatmeal porridge with raisins. Oats is a good source of fiber. Raisins a good source of vitamin C also. So there are many ways that you can do simple dishes that doesn't take much time.
Okay, so with that said, let's get started.
Okay. Welcome to our kitchen. Today I have assisting me, Sapphire. We're doing some easy breakfast meal ideas. The meals are so easy to prepare, so you can have your children assist you. Today we'll be preparing mackerel croquettes. The ingredients are mackerel, escallion, mixed vegetables, red onions, and white onions. Also, we'll be using the breading process. The ingredients for the breading process are flour, egg wash, and the breadcrumb. For children who suffer from celiac disease, instead of using our regular breadcrumb, you can use the gluten-free breadcrumb. So what we'll be doing now is basically adding all our ingredients and mixing them together. So first we'll add the sweet potato. And sweet potato is rich in iron and potassium. We'll add the mackerel flakes.
So Randy, how long does this meal usually take to prepare?
It doesn't take more than 5 minutes. So what I would suggest to parents who work and have no time to prepare the meals in the morning, prep all ingredients from overnight, pop them in the fridge, and then go ahead and deep fry them in the morning. And that will take the most 3 minutes. So what I'll have Sapphire doing now is just mixing the ingredients for me. Okay, well done, Sapphire. We'll now add some eggs for binding. Just mix the ingredients thoroughly. What we're going to do now is make some mini balls. So just squash everything together. It's almost the size of a golf ball. So we then coat it in flour, then egg wash, then breadcrumb. Sapphire is going to help me make one of the balls. Take up a small amount, squash it together. Squash it. Squash it with your hands like that. Squash it and just gently roll it. Okay, well done, Sapphire.
Okay, and how many of these balls do you usually recommend?
Normally for age group 5 to 11, I would recommend 8 ounces. So you're looking at about 4 to 5 of these balls. And portion control is very important because the correct portioning of food alleviates obese children. You have a whole lot of obese children all across the world, and overeating is one of the main factors. And now we'll move to the fryer. We're going to fry these croquettes until they are golden brown. And this should take no longer than 2 to 3 minutes. And the taste is very great. So the mothers and single mothers who have a short period on their hands to prepare breakfast in the morning, this is one of the easier way to go. And it's very nutritious. As you saw, we had a lot of vegetables in there, along with the mackerel that is rich in omega-3. You know, omega-3 is good for heart health. It prevents against heart disease. If you are a vegetarian, you can use veggie chunks or veggie mince.
Quick and easy to prepare and also nutritious. Don't they look nice? Wow, this is really good. Come here, help yourself.
The government has increased funding to hotlines set up to receive reports of child abuse. The number is 1-888-PROTECT or 1-888-776-8328. This recent round of funding will enable the hotline to extend its operating time from 12 to 24 hours. Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Senator Will Reid, also told the country this week that the budget of the National Parenting Support Commission will be increased in the next fiscal year. The commission is to get an additional $25.8 million to more effectively provide key parenting skills at the community level. He says these moves are in response to recent reports of abuse against minors, particularly the case involving a 15-year-old girl said to have been sexually abused by a minister of religion. The Child Development Agency has provided psychological assessment and counseling support to the victim, while members of her family have been referred to the Children and Family Support Unit. The agency will also be engaging the family through parenting workshops. As government does its part to protect the most vulnerable among the population, we all must also play our part. As parents, teachers, neighbors and friends, let's not be silent against child abuse. Call the police if you suspect or know of a minor being sexually abused. Before we go, we leave you with this message on determination. Some people want it to happen. Some wish it would happen. Others make it happen. We sign off from your television screens, but the information continues to flow on our social media pages. For more on foreign affairs and other relevant news, click on our YouTube channel, Twitter and Facebook pages. You may also download our Google app to always stay in the know. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Have yourselves a wonderful week.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.